So welcome everyone to this edition of Climate Tech Pitch from the Climate Tech Coalition of Asia Pacific. We're super excited to have you guys today for this edition, as Singapore is hotter and hotter these days, both for the weather, but also for the kind of companies and the quality of companies that we see in the space related to climate technology. So let me share with you a little bit of who I am and what is the Climate Tech Coalition, and then we'll get to share the stage to our amazing judges who are joining us today to help invest in climate technology, as well as the great companies that we've found in this region and that I think have really high potential. So the Climate Tech Coalition, by the way, I'm John Fall, I'm an angel investor, exited founder, and I'm semi-retired for 4 years now. So I've been building a company in Southeast Asia backed by Alibaba, 500 startups, JobsDB, JobStreet, and I had the chance to become an angel investor with an unlucky thing. An accident actually got me to really care about the planet and climate technology. If you want to learn more about my story, well, you can check it out on YouTube and on LinkedIn. I will share a bit more things. I think next few months I'm gonna start to share more advice and storytelling elements. So this is me, John Fall. I'm here as your host for the Climate Tech Coalition. The Climate Tech Coalition is a movement that we created alongside a few other investors, family offices, and VCs who have dedicated capital for climate technology. And together we aimed actually 2 years ago to influence $1 billion in climate tech innovations, investments, and market expansion to build a greener future in the Southeast Asia Pacific region. So that was when we started this coalition. And now I'm glad to share that we have actually more than 2.7 billion of committed capital in our group of global investors. There's more than 1,000 members in this group, and all of them have committed capital in climate tech, and founders are able to leverage this community to actually get a support platform. This is the QR code for those who haven't joined it yet. This is a great group. I really recommend it. And let me share with you a bit more on why it's interesting and important for the community. So firstly, we help money to access great deals in the climate technology space, right? So 2.7 billion is not small. That accounts for VCs, corporate venture capitals, family offices, and angel investors. So across all our members, this is the money available right now in our group, and this is available a chat away on WhatsApp, on Slack, and through our email database as well. So this is really a great platform for investors to share deal flow, to co-invest together alongside renowned and established investors to de-risk their portfolio. And how we connect that is not only online, but also through offline exclusive events for our members only across not only Southeast Asia and North America as well since 2021. So more than 40 events we organized so far. And this is thanks to our team. So I want to give a little clap to our Atlas team here and the coalition members who are helping us. Thanks guys for putting all of this together. This is really moving the needle, and I think towards 2020, 2025, the climate tech ecosystem is really starting to rise here in the region. Some of our flagship events is the conference we organized for Climate Week in New York, gathering nearly 200 people. It's an investor-only conference, so most of them are family offices, old money and new money meeting up to share deals. More than 20 speakers and connecting again North America and Southeast Asia together. The next edition is happening in September in New York, so I invite any founders interested in climate tech to join that conference. Join the Climate Week, but for us, it's an investor-only conference. So any investors who wants to get a glimpse of what's going on there, really, really recommend it. We have those events happening in Singapore, in Bangkok, in Hong Kong, and in New York. And this is just the conferences where we showcase founders and leading investors in the climate tech space. Now we have another format as well. This is the climate tech meetups and dinners. So this is small investors only gathering as well, where we will put together 9 to 10 investors and 2 founders. So those founders are basically having the chance to close their round instantly if they do a great pitch that nice. We had more than 7 billionaires hosting our events with us. So we have actually some of the largest families in Singapore, in Thailand, in Hong Kong, and also in the US, very large family offices who join those events. The owner themselves are attending our dinners. And I think this is some of the best opportunity for super wealthy individuals networking I've ever had in my life. And you guys can have that with us by attending. So some of the pictures of the events we've had here, and yeah, maybe some of you guys have joined it, so you can testimony about this. And our third product is our online free climate tech pitches. And so this is what you're joining today. We believe that this is very important to put in front of investors some of the great funders we see. Some of them don't have the money yet. They haven't raised the money for the round, but they still deserve to get visibility. And that's why we do this activity for free online. So we've hosted probably 30 of them for the past 2-3 years. Some screenshots here, familiar faces. But yeah, we overall have got more than $440 million raised by the startups who came to pitch through our events. So not saying we've helped all of this, but we definitely did help facilitate connection. And more, we've tracked more than 250 deals allocations thanks to this community. And so this is a real platform for co-investors to invest together in deals and for founders to connect with climate capital. So 40 events, 1,300 attendees, 250 plus deal closes, $450 million, $40 million of follow investment. And in the group, we have 600 potential co-investors. So this is our community. Some people are saying that this is the most powerful climate tech network in Southeast Asia. Some people just ignore us, but I think if you don't ignore us, just come and hang out. So this is some of our ecosystem testimonials. You can find them online as well. Some of our super members and some of our coalition investors members that are here today, and some of them are not. We have more than 60 investors and venture capital conglomerates in the coalition as of today. So this is just a glimpse. So today I want to share with you our sponsorship partner membership package, which is available now. We've been beta testing that for the past 6 months with 10 members, and somehow all of them are very happy. Most of them are VCs, so they have their own investment firm, and they want access to climate tech deal flow. And so we have, I think, one of the largest deal flow in Southeast Asia, actually unparalleled in the world, with more than 250 climate tech companies from seed to Series B in our deal flow in Southeast Asia. And so as a VC, as an investor, you can access that for only $1,000 a year. And this is quite good. This is supporting our coalition events. This is our NGO. We're not making money from this. I have my own fund. I'm going to share with you about this very soon. But this is the platform. This is the way you can support this platform to continue existing. This is the way we can have those free events happening, and we can be inclusive to people who haven't raised yet and to investors who are just getting started to do angel investment, for example. For founders, if you also want to supercharge your fundraising and access our database of more than 600 investors with active capital in the climate, with other $2.5 billion of climate capital committed, you can also become a premium investor member for $1,000. Sorry, a premium startup member for $1,000. We'll get introductions to you going. You get access to our vetted climate tech investors list. And this really supercharge your fundraising. Trust me, I've been there. I've been in your shoes. I've been fundraising for my own company. We raised Series B. I know how hard it is, and you need that help. So we're happy to do that. It's just about being respectful of our team time. And I think $1,000 is really peanuts for anyone who is a legit founder. So this is our price grid. If you have more questions, feel free to hit up my team, Poom here on the call, or Shopper here on the call, to get more information on how to get there. We have limited slots. We cannot accept more than 20 members in the same time because we want to deliver the right value to them. But yeah, this is the price list for you guys. Lastly, I want to share you my actual hat. What is my actual job as Jioan for angel investors and active in the climate tech space? You might have heard about me. You have met me. And today I'm sharing you what really I'm working on. So let's start with one fact, is we're going from 4 seasons to 2. And I'm a doomer, I'm a millennial, I'm about to have kids soon. And I'm really worried for them. But in the same time, I need to, I need to be with my time, right? And I think our time is AI, crypto, so many interesting things. But the fact is, this is, to me, too late to stop climate change. We're not going to change. We're not going to stop this. This is a process that is having occurred over the past 200 years, and is going to occur over the next 1,000 years, 500 to 1,000 years, right? So this is too late. But what we can do is climate adaptation. And this has been my strategy for all my personal investment in the stock market, in commodities, in land, and also in technology. Since I exited my company, I have personally invested in adaptation. And I think this is adaptation to climate, adaptation to technology is really what's interesting. And so we are helping with my fund, Atlas Capital, to connect regional conglomerates with category-defining North American, European, and Southeast Asian companies to adapt and decarbonize our industries. So we invest as Atlas Capital to future industrial climate technology category leaders that are helping to adapt those industries to climate and disrupting technologies like robotics and AI, for example. And we do that by connecting them across those 2 continents, Southeast Asia, North America. Don't be surprised if you see a lot of North American companies to our climate tech pitches, or Southeast Asian investors, because that's really where our network is, and you can now leverage that too. How our model is in action. Actually, as you understood now, we have a very strong community, and we are the first community VC in the region. A community VC is basically a mix between a venture capital firm and a community, and that's what we are, right? So by organizing those pitching events, by connecting all these founders together, we establish track record, thought leadership, and we really help founders to raise money, as you see. And so this is really how this thing works. So some of our portfolio results are here. We invested into 9 companies actually already. Our NAV growth has been 247% increase over the past 2 years, and we outperform public market equity by 11x. So some of our portfolio that are quite well known are Avalanche Energy, a nuclear power company. We've got an uplift of 6x on this one. Zoben, 3x, Push Robotics. And all of them are in climate tech, doing technology that are not crazy moonshots, but actually bankable and already making money. So this is further due our network. Some of the people that will be in the call today hiding behind their camera or without their camera are some of the largest investors in the climate space. We worked so hard going to all those events, traveling so much to get one-on-one meetings with them, so you don't have to. And I think this is the incredible opportunity that we're presenting to our friends here. Again, we've been through this fundraising game. We know how it works. We know how hard it is. And we want to help you facilitate that by meeting those family offices, those billionaires and conglomerate that we've met already. So without further ado, I will kick the ball to my team member, Poom, so we can introduce our amazing judges supporting us today. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John, for the amazing story. So now we get to the most exciting part for today. So I would like to kickstart the Climate Tech Pitch Singapore. So before we start, I would like to officially introduce our judges we have today. First of all, we have Jongmun Goh, venture partner from Big. Next, we have Jirapat, Suvidejkosol, associate investment from Vertex Ventures. We also have Maansi, Vohra, investment manager from Maansi Ventures. Then we also have Kristav, which he's probably coming to join us in a bit. But yeah, we have then lastly we have John to be our judges today as well. So please give a round of applause for the judges for do us an honor to join us today. Now, again, most important guest for us today is the startup that will be pitching today. So first of all, I would like to have Yindii. So Louis, please welcome you on the stage. We just a reminder, you have 5 minutes to pitch, and then we give another 5 minutes for Q&A. But I'll give a signal when is almost up. So please come up and then start your pitching.
So back in 2020, when COVID hit the world, I decided to volunteer for a food charity that was redistributing food to people in need. And it literally woke me up to a massive problem we have in our society, food waste. Little did I know that every single year, 1 billion ton of food is being thrown away. That's a massive problem. It's a financial problem. Food retailers and food businesses losing up to $1 billion every single day. It's impacting consumers, and food prices are hitting record highs today. But it's also one of the major root causes of climate change. 10% of our greenhouse gas emissions actually come from food waste. So yeah, I decided to do something about it. Use and to start an action to fight against climate change and food waste. So I built Yindii, a solution for unsold food surplus, where we connect consumers to restaurants and food retailers that have high quality food, but that needs to be cleared very fast. So we offer up to 50, up to 80% discount, reducing climate change 1 meal at a time. It's a win-win to improve their bottom line, so make revenue instead of losses. It's a way for consumers to get access to quality food at a lower price, and it's a way to reduce our climate impact. Now Yindii operates in 3 countries, Thailand, Hong Kong, and Singapore. So basically, how does it work for a consumer? You can download the Yindii application, check amazing deal in your area, pay online, book it, and go to the shop, usually in a dedicated happy hour, close to the end of the service or the end of the day, and you will collect a surprise bag, happiness in a bag, says our customer, that will be filled with the unsold inventory of that specific day. So think about delicious croissant or chocolate, a buffet from a 5-star hotel, or fruits and vegetables from your grocery shops. Yindii now has over 400,000 users. We were app of the day last year. We usually ranked from time to time #1 in the App Store in Hong Kong, for example. On the merchant side, same thing. It's easier to make money with Yindii than throwing away food. You turn, I would say, an asset that is losing its value into now new revenue, marketing, because you have customer coming in the shop, right? And improve also your branding by dedicating yourself to do something sustainable, right? So our partners like Pret a Manger have announced that they've sold more than 10,000 meals on the platform and win back over $500,000 Hong Kong dollars instead of throwing away, which I think is quite cool. We're trusted by over 800 partners in those 3 countries, including some of the top retailers like Central Group or City Super in Hong Kong, public traded companies like S&P in Bangkok, or Minor Group with the Coffee Club in Thailand. Our team is passionate people building tech and sustainability. I have myself more than 14 years of experience in tech startup. Swan raised $124 million, and we expanded in Southeast Asia. Maima, my CMO, that has more than 9 years of experience using Etigo and Lazada, handling at the latest. So the whole marketing team at Etigo for and their expansion in more than 8 countries in the region. And Jay, our CTO, 14 years of experience in e-commerce for a very important cause. So very proud of the mission that we've done. We are the leading player in Southeast Asia. Their competition, of course, coming from Europe. So the model has already been, I would say, proven in Europe with the leading player already present in 17 countries, and now Yindii becoming the leading player in Asia. So 140 billion market that we're trying to tackle and growing on 5% year on year. Our model is very simple. We take a cut out of every bag that we rescue from going to waste. India has already rescued more than 200,000 bags from food from going to waste, which is the equivalent of 500,000 kilograms to offset it, and we paid back close to $1 million to our merchants. Our target now is to raise $2 million to strengthen our 3 markets in terms of merchant acquisition, user acquisition, as well as strengthening our leadership, expanding in the region. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Great timing. So now we welcome any question or comment from the judges.
Thanks, Louis. If it's okay, I can go first, unless Fal, I saw you raise your hand. Okay. Wanted a little bit more clarity on your ICP in terms of the customer demographic that you're going after and how you think about sort of GTM and acquisition strategy.
Of course. So on the demographic, most of our customer right now is a feminine gender. So 80% of our customers are women. When it comes to the age, we're between 18 to 40 years. Depending on the country, the demographic slightly changes. But basically what we see is usually young workers, mother within a family of 3 to 4 people trying to save money on their daily grocery and food without removing the quality, right? So we are getting, especially in Hong Kong and Singapore, also more students that are really trying to save money at the end of the day, and same thing, trying to find an alternative to kind of 7-Eleven food that are really cheap but not really good for your health. So when it comes to the acquisition, so Yindii, roughly 70% of our customer acquisition comes for free. Usually word of mouth and free media attention. We are maybe strongly because of the cause we defend. So this has been really helping, but the only problem with this kind of a channel is it's kind of inconsistent. So on top of that, we're working extremely strongly on influencer marketing. So we partner with influencer that will save food on the platform and share it with their audience. I think it's perfect for us because we're really in a state where we need to raise awareness about the cause that we are defending, and also want to show people what kind of high quality is actually extremely good at the end of the day, to kind of pass the barrier. Oh my God, this is potential leftovers, right? So this has been working extremely well. We were recently #1 of the App Store in the most downloaded apps in Hong Kong, right after an influencer about us. So it's been very successful. So our cost for acquisition, and depending on the month, but it's roughly between $2 to $3 for customer acquisition. If you compare to the market, it's maybe between 8 to 15. So we're very competitive. And usually our ROI is positive within 1 month.
Thank you for that. I don't know if someone has another question. I have a follow-up, but maybe I can wait till everyone gets a chance.
Hey, maybe just one question from me. Would love to understand how do you manage the logistic part? I think that's the business model is quite clear, right? But I think in different countries we have different means and cost structure in terms of logistic. How do you manage that, and who bear the cost of logistics?
So that's the beauty of it. So in Hong Kong and Singapore, there's no logistic. So consumer come to the shop and pick up at the end of the day. So simply about selecting, leftover items and putting them into a surprise bag. So it's really 5-minute work for the merchants, which makes it extremely appealing for them and very simple to handle. The only market where pickup is challenged is Bangkok, where delivery is king. So the way we've managed the model there is very simple. We do not lose money on delivery, which is perfect. We partner with third-party delivery platforms like Grab Express and Move. And basically, if you choose delivery option, you will get, instead of getting 60% discount, you will get only 50% discount from the food. And 10% will be allocated for discounting the delivery. So consumer doesn't see it. They just see a lower discount if they choose delivery, and a lower price point, which is great. So on average, we charge around 15 baht, which is maybe 50 cents for a 3-kilometer delivery. Still very competitive. And if you decide to choose pickup, then we give you an extra 10%, right? So it's kind of artificial, but we saw that for the customer, if we were charging them the full delivery price, they would not be ready to pay for that. So that's how we manage I would say the logistic in cities that really rely on food delivery, and where the food traffic will be more challenging.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Luis. I'm so glad to see you guys keep grinding, and it's making a lot of progress. In fact, I was just talking to one of my potential investor last week, and he was like, "Oh, I already invested in Yindii. Do you know these guys?" I was like, "Yes," and I love them. Luis is amazing. So I think you're doing a good job. Just a recurring question I'm being asked, right, is in the food space, who are the category kings, right? So I've seen you've put that in the slide, but maybe if you can educate us a little bit on who are the potential unicorns in the US or in Europe that you've seen, and that you're basically cloning for this Southeast Asian market. That would be a great one, and then would be good.
Yes, of course. So I mean, my source of inspiration came from Europe and from France, where I am. So we have this giant, now it's already unicorn, present in 18 countries. In France, we're talking about 15 million people. So 1 out of 5 French people have a food surplus app in their pocket. Why? Because the food is expensive. Because people always want to try to find ways to eat at a lower price without sacrificing the quality. And on the other side, you have massive merchants, so supermarkets, bakery, restaurants, and hotels that are selling a huge amount of food, right? So it was quite of a no-brainer that this model would succeed. You have much more competition now in Europe and in the US. You have Flash Food in US and Canada. You have Phoenix in Europe that is also thriving. So we're seeing those models already very competitive. Too Good To Go has I would say the ambition to become global. So they've announced that they're coming very close to us. They're opening Australia at the end of the year. So yeah, we're seeing that we need to be more proactive in capturing more country in the region. While in the region right now, there's mostly local players that have never made it outside of their home country. And India has really been the first one to be able to internationalize, to scale the business, and we're really proud to lead the here.
Thank you. That's very informative. Thank you. I think we have one more question, and then we'll go to the next one.
Yeah, thanks. This is JM here. Hi, Louis. Thank you for your time. I think this is great, and it's pretty easy to understand the business model. But it's a platform business, isn't it? And I just want to understand whether you have a competitor market analysis, like how do you compare with the other players? Because for platform businesses, we know sooner or later there'll be new players coming in, offering a bigger discount or coupons. How do you stay unique, and what is your secret sauce that makes you different from the others?
Yeah. Yes, so you're right. So it's a marketplace, right? I think the main difference with our marketplace compared to any other marketplace is we have a very, very limited amount of potential product. It's not unlimited. So if you're a supermarket and you waste 5 to 10 of your fruits and vegetables, will always be limited to 5 to 10%. So really the question is how big you can grow to clear out 80, 90, 100% of that leftovers, and then there is no competition for anyone else because you're already clearing out those stocks. I give you the example of Hong Kong. Right now, our top brands are clearing around, on average, 85%. And the city center, we're clearing out 92% of our published meals, right? Which means that if you're a merchant, 9 out of 10 kilos of food you normally wasted are now being cleared out, right? So this is, I would say, the biggest barrier to competitors is clearing out the inventory of our merchants that they publish on a daily basis. The second aspect, I would say, is technology. So one of the things we realize is it's difficult for some potentially left at the end of the day. So we are now working in adding machine learning features to our system and connecting with their POS to be able to anticipate almost in real time their potential wastage at the end of the day, right? To help the decision making, increase the potential stock we have on the platform, and also save them time when they have to do the inventory at the end of the day, when you just have to take a picture of your bakery shop or of your buffet, and our system will automatically tell you this is the amount of products you have on your shelves at the moment. This is the anticipated wastage you will have at the end of the day, or at the end of the day, you can automatically do your inventory, take a picture, and it tells you, okay, today you've wasted $1,000 of product automatically. So we know that for next week, on that specific day, we'll add $1,000 worth of product onto our platform. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all your question and answer. Very impressive. But for the interest of time, probably need to move on to the next one in the line. Now, I would like to invite Nicolas from beez-fm to come up on the stage, please.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me? Yeah?
Yeah, nice and clear.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I start. Just sharing my screen. Here we go. All right. So my screen it's working, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So basically, we are providing outcome-based models. So our model will change the way that we are building. And so we are joining now with economical growth, also the environmental protection factor and social growth into buildings. So our target is to build an eco-friendly Earth. And let me show you how we do that. But before to explain how we're doing it, I need to give you a little bit of insight about myself. So there's something that John said before that resonated with me. I've always been asking myself, what kind of future can I promise to my children? Even way before I have any children, when I was 17 years old, I was already thinking about it. And there is one sentence I heard once, which was given to a Native American as a proverb. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestor, we borrow it from our children. And when I hear that, it really resonates, but I'm always wondering, what can we do? And when in 2008, okay, this is me in 2015, I still was young and pretty at that time, but in 2008, I started my journey in the building industry. First, I was a product manager, and my target was to develop the first building and energy management system, cloud-based solution in Switzerland. So I worked a lot in many buildings. From 2012 to 2015, I was product evangelist, and I was working in the building management technology, where we were saving energy in 160 buildings in Europe. I've been personally working, and I then moved in Asia in 2015. I worked in China, and then I've been living here in Singapore. And during all that time, I've seen that the built industry has a very big problem. We have mainly 4 stakeholders in the built industry, and all of them, they have different incentives. So basically, you have a building owner. Obviously, he wants to have a nice building, comfortable. And then you have a main contractor that will construct the building for him. And you have system integrators selling technology to make building more efficient, or at least to provide a cooling solution and to provide lighting solution and so on. And all of them have different incentives. So obviously, the building owner is focused on building value. So he wants a building that's worth something. The main contractor wants to manage to have the best margin on installation. And obviously, the system integrator wants to sell as many products as possible with the best margin as possible. So basically, nobody has the incentive on efficiency. The main contractor will decide what product come inside of a building. And the system integrator is just trying to provide the product with the best margin. And the owner very rarely really understands the difference between the products. And then comes a design consultant in the middle that should help you to make the right decision. However, those people are incentivized by the complaints. Okay, they want to provide as many design as possible and have nobody complaining that it was not cold enough in the building they were providing. And furthermore, we have a lot of product sales, that is coming with new technology, smart AI technology, new valve technology, and whichever other products which are really working and making building more efficient. However, here again, these people are incentivized by product sales. So they are not incentivized by really the efficiency of the building. And all of this is due to one main problem. We have a very big scale issue. When you compare the construction cost of a building and the operation for 1 year operation is usually around 5% of the total cost of the construction. This is why everybody focuses on product and on construction cost. And when I was working in my previous company, I've seen Uber rising, I've seen Xerox starting to stop selling printers, but they were selling the ability to print. They were giving you the printer actually for free, and you were just paying a certain amount of dollars depending on how many paper you were printing. So they give you the printer, the paper, the ink, and whatever technical support that you need. So they're not selling a product anymore, they were selling an outcome. And so this is the same idea that they apply for buildings. Instead of selling product, we are selling an outcome. So we are now telling what the customer really needs. What does a building owner need? He doesn't need a valve, he doesn't need a sensor, he doesn't need a filter, he actually needs comfort for the smallest energy cost in his building. And this is what we are providing with beez-fm. So we make a contract from 2 to 5 years with zero initial investment from the customer. We take care of the entire investment, and then we get paid over these years only if 2 KPIs are being fulfilled. The energy saving, so we need to save energy, and the user comfort. So as soon as we realize those 2 KPIs, we are getting paid. The 4 founders, all of us, we have experience in the energy saving and in the building industry, and in obviously our CTO in the development. Nevertheless, needed to provide some technology for that, and we developed one cloud solution that can be used by any stakeholder. So from owner, designer, contractors, facility management team, sales, and users. And we have developed the capability to connect any type of building. We have also the data integration, and we have also providing data-driven AI predictive control and a project management solution integrated in our software. So basically, just to go very quick, I'll just give you one last information. We have actually done several projects. We have done Hyatt, Marriott, DBS, and actually, as of today, our customer is our best traction. When we started with Hyatt, right now we are discussing with Hyatt Group for the entire Asia Pacific. They already gave us another 10 hotels, They want to give us access to 216 hotels in the region, and we are looking forward to make this happen. And this is why we are just raising our Series A, just invest with purpose and be proud to make your children's life better than ours. That was my pitch. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question or comment? Kris, please.
Yeah, Nicolas, really interesting pitch. Before I moved to Singapore, and this was maybe close to 20 years ago, I worked for a consultancy in Chicago in the US that helped commercial buildings acquire power on competitive bids and save quite a bit of money. But the area that we were looking at was being able to save money operationally, which you're looking at. And yeah, the issues were comfort and reliability and capitalization of these costs. So what I'm trying to understand, can you clarify a little bit more the business model you have? Is it a gain share, or do they pay you for service, or what is your revenue source in this model?
Yeah, okay, thanks. So that's a good question. Basically, we are working with two different options. So one option is just to pay a share of the energy saving that we realize if the comfort is met. But also we can work in certain projects with a specific fee. It can be a fixed fee, or it can be variable depending on the energy saving and the comfort KPIs that we are setting. So we are very flexible for that. But for us, this I had no time to present, but basically we are not only focusing on technology. Yes, our platform is technology that we develop, but it's also able to analyze user operations and user behavior. And we are working a lot on improving user behaviors, and we are following those behavior with our platform.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Hi, Nicolas. Thank you so much for the pitch. Just curious, what is the differentiation, like the key competitive advantage of your company? I think we kind of see quite a few numbers of this energy saving IoT device to help optimize the energy usage, right? So would love to understand more what's so unique about the company.
Yeah, thank you for amazing question. Actually, there are several differentiation, and actually you can see them on the screen. So the first one is that we are not just an ESCO business provider, an energy saving, an EPC contractor. So we are providing a holistic system. We are analyzing the human behavior, how your building works. For me, I'm not focused on one single product, on one IoT sensor, or one IoT valve, or one IoT, whatever you are saying, or one filter, or whatever. I will do anything in your building that makes your building more efficient. So we can improve the air quality. And if we decide that improving air quality, and our platform tells us that improving air quality will reduce the amount of outside air that we bring in, and we need then less cooling and less dehumidification, then we will do that. But for another building, maybe we will change filters. Maybe we will add new sensors. We are not limited to anything. We can do anything in your building to make it more efficient, including also changing human behavior. So this is one of the main differentiation. And the second is that we are focused on savings and comfort, and not only energy savings. Yeah.
Thanks, Nicolas. This is JM. Yeah, I'm just being curious. This is outcome-based model, so I suppose that the most important thing is the outcome, isn't it? So, but how do you actually measure an outcome, and what do you measure against? Do you measure it against, for example, energy savings with no savings, or do you measure against what would have been saved if you do it in a different way, or if there are other competitors coming to pitch for the same building, same construction project? How do you measure against what your competitors are going to do?
Yeah, also excellent question. Thanks for asking. So basically, the thing is that we use machine learning technology to understand building pattern, and when we have this, we know the baseline of the building depending on the outside temperature, depending on how many people in the building. As example, we're speaking about hotels just before, depending on occupation, how many meals served, and also how many events and something like that. So based on all of that, we know what would be the baseline without our activity. Now, if someone else comes and say, okay, I would like to change the chiller, and I give you the chiller, or even the customer, he wants to buy a new chiller, then obviously if the chiller by itself is more efficient, then what we will do, we will add an energy meter just for that very specific chiller, and we can measure out the savings that are being provided just by the chiller change itself. So that's how we can measure, yeah. And the second point is, how do we measure comfort? And this is a little bit more subjective, but for this, we work with, in hotel, it's very simple. Complain, guest complaint. You want to reduce that, right? You want to get to zero. So this is where we are working. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we're good. Thank you so much, Nicolas, for joining. Exciting products you have here. All right. Thank you. Poom, you can call the next one.
Thank you. Next one, I would like to invite Ashwin from RISCO to come up, please.
Hi everyone. So RISCO stands for Restoration Insurance and Financial Services Company. I'm Ashwin, I'm the founder. So just to give you a quick background, so RISCO was incubated at the Climate Finance Lab, which is run by the Climate Policy Initiative, and it was done by Conservation International. Since then, we've done feasibility studies in the Philippines and in India, and we're in the process of launching in both these countries now. So this is all about mangroves. So the mangroves are really important, right? Mangroves store 10 times as much carbon as terrestrial forests, and they provide a host of other ecosystem benefits such as biodiversity. They also provide flood height reduction to the communities in their vicinity. And in the last 20 years, we've lost all, 25% of our mangrove cover. And in the absence of external intervention, we're going to lose all mangrove cover in the next 100 years. So our goal was to, currently mangrove restoration is done through grant funding, which is unsustainable. We wanted to create a business model that restores mangroves while making a profit for its investors. So this is an example of how mangroves protect the communities in their vicinity, how they break the wave energy and protect the communities during floods. So our solution is to create financial products that leverage the risk reduction properties of mangroves to uplift coastal communities in these emerging markets or in these vulnerable countries, while stimulating mangrove conservation and restoration. So how does it work? So the main vehicle that we use for community-based under mangrove restoration is RISCO Fund. Now, I say fund, it could be a microfinance institute or a lending company. So the form is less important than the function. The function is, we've identified 3 functions for this. One is we provide revenue-based financing for social enterprises that set up community-run mangrove-positive businesses. Now, examples of these are integrated mangrove aquaculture systems, sustainable shrimp farming, there's sustainable crab fattening, there's ecotourism. The other one is we provide loans and training to self-help groups to start mangrove-positive businesses. And the third is we provide loans to small businesses that already do mangrove-positive work. Now the source, so RISCO Fund has 3 sources. One is through RISCO Insurance, second is impact investors, and third is through the sale of blue carbon credits. So I'll go into the sources one by one. So first is RISCO Insurance. So what we do is we sell parametric insurance to cities, villages, communities, and small businesses that protects them against, or that adds capacity for them to recover from natural catastrophe. Now, the money that we make from the sale of these insurance goes into the fund. We use the fund to do mangrove conservation and restoration work. This reduces the impact of future weather events, and it also reduces out-of-pocket expenses for these community members. So there are precedents for parametric insurance used by provinces and cities in other parts of the world. Where China, there's about 19 cities that have done this. In India, there's 2 states that have bought parametric insurance for natural catastrophe cover. And in Yucatan, there's actually protecting their coral reefs, because the tourism revenue depends on these coral reefs. The second source of funding is through the sale of blue carbon credits, which is pretty straightforward in terms of the logic, although the the implementation is quite complex. And then there's the impact investors who are looking for a who are looking for fixed returns, especially those with a mandate for conservation or restoration. They invest with us. We deploy those funds, the communities, and so this is an example of one of the mangrove positive businesses that we did, where we trained a group of 30 women in the Philippines. They didn't have any source of income. We trained them to start a seaweed farm. And what we realized is not only can they set up this farm, take care of themselves, generate enough money to take care of themselves, but they can also pay back the loan and take care of their families and grow the business. These are other examples of mangrove positive businesses. These are some of the things that we're piloting in the Sundarbans in India as we speak. So this is an integrated mangrove aquaculture system. There's ecotourism. And as I said before, there's sustainable crab fattening, there's sustainable shrimp farming, sustainable mangrove honey, etc. So we already have endorsement from 2 cities in the Philippines to work with us. Some of the other interesting stuff is we're working with Red Cross on the island of Leyte in the Philippines. They're writing about us to present to G20 that's happening in Brazil. We're working with World Bank to do this in Malaysia, and we're presenting in the Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference that's happening in Manila. So far, we've raised 1.5 million, but that was for feasibility study. And now we're at the launch stage where we're looking at about 2 million, which is a mix of grant and equity. Yeah, that's kind of about it. I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Ashwin. Just one quick question on revenue model, business model. How do you guys intend to make or generate revenue?
So what I would say is, so what we've discussed so far is there's a lot of talk about restoration and mangroves and all, right? What I would say is, if you take out all that noise, there's 2 businesses, or at least 2 fundamental businesses. One is through the sale of insurance, and then we are using that money and providing it that low interest loans. So there's the interest revenue that we're generating. And the mangrove restoration that happens is incidental. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. And do you have a sort of credit risk team that helps kind of underwrite the creditworthiness of the low interest loans that you're providing, or a microfinance institution that you partner with to help?
No, so we will be doing that in-house. We're actually using a couple of approaches. So we can go into this in detail separately if you want. But the idea is really to use and I haven't discussed exactly how these loans will be provided. But the idea really is to not use a stick approach and use a carrot approach. So where we're working with partners to kind of train them. Whenever we provide loans, we train them, we make sure they're integrated in the supply chain so that they have a buyer at the end of, so once they set up these businesses. So yeah, so like I said, we're using a carrot approach, and it's slightly unconventional, but we're doing it in-house, the underwriting itself.
Thanks.
Hi, Ashwin. Just kind of a follow-on question. I'm just trying to understand, who would you say, is there a typical customer? Who do you actually go to and sell your services to? Is it a government entity or a corporation or a cooperative?
Yeah, so so I can give you an example of the Philippines. So in the Philippines, when it comes to the insurance part, there's 2 city governments that we're working with. So that's Puerto Princesa and Zamboanga City. Now these governments, what happens is, let's take Puerto Princesa as an example. They have a lot of indigenous population, or what we call IP, in the Philippines that are dislocated from one place to another because of development or because of natural catastrophes. So now when these people who've been living there for centuries suddenly move to another place, they don't know what to do with them. So the government points us in their direction, and we train them, and we try to help them start a business.
Okay, but
so it's, yeah.
Who actually is your customer? Does the government then say, we're going to contract with you and pay for that, or how does that happen?
No, the customer the government is only the customer for the insurance part, and when it comes to the communities, they're providing low interest loans, so they're the customer, so they pay back, and yeah, that's how
Okay.
we make it. Yeah.
You have financing, and then actually the community itself is the customer. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and we have revenue-based financing and
Okay.
low interest loans as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions from the judges? All right. Then thank you, Ashwin, and all the judges. We shall move on to the next theme, please. Thank you. So next one, we would like to invest Lester from Gush to come up on the stage, please.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Lester. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Gush. Very quick introduction to what we do here. So Gush develops sustainable building materials for all the surfaces around us, and the ideal is really to go beyond the surface to construct the future we can all gush about. So we started in 2017, and since then we've actually developed and commercialized 16 different SKUs. We've completed more than 8,000 projects, both in the residential and the commercial space. We're also in 6 active markets, namely Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, China, US, and the Gulf. We also have more than 200 interior designer partners for advocacy, as well as 193 contractor partners for recurring demand generation. We're also very proud to be the chair of the Healthy Building Consortium, which is supported by Enterprise Singapore, where we lead a group of Singapore companies to harness a pact to champion for healthy buildings on top of sustainable buildings itself. So why we started is because we see indoor air pollution as a massive problem. It's a huge problem. We spend about 80% of our time indoors, and the traditional building materials that we use, our traditional paints, adhesives, and laminates drastically increased occupant exposure to things like volatile organic compounds, otherwise known as VOCs. And the fact that we live in such highly humid environments in our climate also leads to a higher prevalence of things like mold. The fact that we also started to see a lot more buildings getting challenged with climate change as well as denser urbanization. And as cities heat up, the need for cooling also causes cooling energy consumption to climb. So we also wanted to solve for the rising temperatures and increasing cooling requirements. So these two are problems that we've seen for a while now, and we see it's only going to increase in terms of magnitude over the next few years. So we wanted to solve these problems from the root using advanced materials. And we started by looking at the biggest surface area around us, which are our walls. So we started with the interior walls around us, and we were thinking, how can we leverage on this big surface area to deliver impact for the people inside? And traditional paints are highly pollutive, so we thought, how about we reconfigure paints and turn these products into one that's also functional for people inside. So we actually developed a paint that's able to purify the air, and on top of that, it's very strong against molding, bacteria, it's completely VOC free, and it's also odorless. We then also developed a series called Clean Care, which is highly stain resistant for any multi-generational families with kids that like to be creative on the walls, and also for enterprise customers that have high traffic areas. So one of the key things that we've been doing here in Singapore is that we have worked with many, many malls. Typically, they have very recurrent mold issues because of the high humidity, and asset managers would have to clean, prime, and repaint the walls every 3 weeks. So after using Gush, this is actually one of the key examples that we have. We cleaned everything here with a tongue setter wash, so it was all white in color. We used a sealer, and then we just painted the small square in the middle here with our paint. After 18 months, everything else is turned moldy except for our painted area. So we're very confident in the paint's ability to prevent mold growth and thereby reduce the maintenance cost of these asset and facility managers. These are for the interiors. We also wanted to see how can we leverage on the other surfaces around us to combat rising temperatures. So if you look at the exterior, you look at the building, if you imagine the exteriors, there is both the exterior walls as well as the windows. So for the exterior walls, we actually developed a solar reflective paint that has global highs of solar reflectance of up to 92%, which then reduces the amount of heat transmission into the masonry surfaces. And then for the windows, we actually developed the solar film that's able to reject 99% of UV and infrared while still allowing a huge deal of visible light to pass through, so it doesn't compromise the beautiful views of the windows in the first place. And these here have been tested against thermal comfort as well as energy efficiency. The solar films have been proven to reduce up to 14.45% of the cooling energy consumption, and exterior paints up to 11.6%. So for beez-fm, I can also work with you guys. So beyond this, we keep thinking, how can we're in a very pragmatic and realistic market, so we keep thinking, how can we continue to innovate while disrupting cost? So for those who are familiar with the painting industry, typically for paints, you will need 3 coats of product. You will need 1 layer of sealer and 2 layers of paint. the sealer increases the adhesion of the paint to the wall, and it also seals off any impurities coming out from the concrete layer. And then you have the paints which gives it its features and its colors, and you have 2 layers of that. But with 3 coats of product, you also need 3 coats of labor. And in a market like Singapore, where labor cost is so expensive, we see that the labor cost would be about 85% of the entire project cost. So the key thing in our head was, how can we reduce the amount of labor reliance? And then that invariably led to, how can we reduce the number of coats required? So in July last year, we actually developed a 2-in-1 product where we blended the sealer into the paint itself, thereby reducing 1 layer of coat. So we only need 2 coats instead of 3, thereby reducing 33% of the material cost and manpower cost. And then we thought about it even deeper. What is the point of paint in the first place? Essentially, if you think about it, paint is to cover any imperfections on the wall, is to change the color of the wall, is to make the wall look new again. So it's very cosmetic in nature. And with that, we started studying other adjacent industries like cosmetics. How do they have things like concealer, foundation, with one single coat one single coat is able to cover all the blemishes, and yet still have all the features of being able to retain moisture and reject UV. And realized actually, when we studied the formulations of foundation, they actually grinded the particle sizes really small. They've mastered the particle sizing distribution technology. Since paints is like makeup for your walls, we thought, why isn't anyone leverage on the same technology into paints? And in November last year, we developed the world's first 1-coat product with sealers blended in with ultra high coverage, which means instead of 3 coats, we now only need 1 coat of product and 1 coat of labor. Effectively, with that, we have been able to shave off about 40 to 66% of our project cost, which gives us a huge cost advantage during tenders while not compromising on the product quality at all. So we've done these tests multiple times. I just want to show you how, very, very quickly, because I don't have much time, how 1 coat of Ultra is very satisfyingly able to cover even a very dark black surface. And if you look at these ones here, these are, this is Gush vis-a-vis the other competitors in the market, and how one coat of Gush can very easily cover even a very dark blue surface. So of course we've deployed this. We've launched this in May, and we've won almost every tender that we've gone for. So I wanted to just show you a variety of different applications we've used this for. So Ultra, we've also made Ultra a solar reflective exterior paint, so it's just 1 coat. And typically, compared to the 3-coat product, we're actually able to reduce 25% of the tender price. So we actually won it. So I can be just open here. Typically, it would cost them about 170K. We went in 120, and we won the deal straight away. For Habit, they're one of the biggest co-living spaces here in Singapore. For them, they want to reduce the amount of time it takes for the refurbishment process. So then, with 1 coat, it's a lot faster for them to complete the project. And in terms of contracting price, we've also shown them a 40% reduction from the usual. This one is a residential condo. We've also shown it's able to save them 40% reduction from the usual. So we've also piloted with leading developers in Singapore like CDL and CapitaLand to prove to them 50% reduction in mandate requirements, much faster project completion and handover. And in terms of embodied carbon, just because it's 1 coat instead of 3, embodied carbon has also been shown to reduce by 73%. At the same time, the last point here, we also want to show our enterprise customers that it's not just during the painting process, the capex at the start, that you reduce the price. On an ongoing basis, on an operational basis, you also reduce the energy bills because of the cooling energy consumption reduction up to 11.6%. So that's us. We sit at the intersection of science, wellness, and sustainability, and we keep pushing the boundaries of material science in order to create a world we can gush about.
Yeah, thank
Awesome.
you, Lester.
Thank you. Lester, really interesting. Let me ask you just to clarify the sales cycle, the sales process on this. If a building or a building owner or a builder says, I want to get a painting job done, they normally go out and book a job. So they say they go to a contractor, a painting contractor, and say, we want to quote this job. And they come in, look at the building, say, okay, this many square feet, this much time, any details, and then they bid, and they typically, all else being equal, take the lowest bidder. Is that kind of a typical process?
In Singapore, yes. So it's quite nuanced in Singapore as well.
Okay.
So with the residential homeowners, typically they go for the contractors, and the contractors have a lot of say in terms of what sort of materials they use. Okay. Now our focus is really on the enterprise side. And here's the part that's interesting about Singapore. Singapore's buildings look so new all the time because it is mandated by law that every 5 to 7 years, the buildings have to be repainted.
Right. You
Yeah,
can tell
so-
that as soon as you cross the causeway into JB, you can tell the difference in terms of the practices.
Well, this is
Yeah.
it's the truth, but no hate against my
No,
neighbors.
I'm
But
just saying, but I understand what you're talking. No, I'm not.
yeah,
It's not a down. It's a kind of just a noticeable thing when you get into Singapore. But what I'm trying to clarify is can you drive the process? For example, if you're basically, are you the only paint that can be applied effectively in a single coat, as far as you know, or are there competitors that have the same specs?
we're the world's first. So I believe now that we are changing the market, there'll be other competitors who are looking into the space as well.
Okay,
But if you look,
if you went to the organization that's contracting for the service, what if they spec'd, we want you to do it in a single coat in order to save time, reduce downtime, speed up turnaround, and things like that? Would that basically mandate that currently that they use your paint?
yes, if that is a specification, then it is for sure only us that will win a project. But most times these consultants and architects, they want to also protect themselves. So they'll give an alternative specification. So they give a 3-coat specification and an alternative 1-coat. So then to that, we also have the 3-coat system that we can quote for, and then we give an alternative quote. So in all the tenders that we've gone for since we launched in May, we've won every single one of them. And the average order size, it's about $400,000.
Okay. And the VOCs, is that another important issue, or is that still a bit invisible to most building owners?
So we started off with that proposition, with wanting to create a product that has no VOCs and also break down VOCs indoors. What we painfully realized in Singapore is that not many building owners care. So it is more a residential homeowner sort of product right now. So we still have 2 arms, the residential arm and the enterprise arm. The enterprise arm is obviously growing a lot faster because of this new product.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
On the back of those questions, I just wanted to ask what your sort of strategy around defensibility is. I don't know if I caught whether you have some type of patent on the process or on the ingredients mixture, chemical compound, etc., or not?
Yeah. To answer that question, so we have a patent pending. Okay, it's hard to answer this. Okay, let me just try to answer this, because we have 16 different products. For each one, so firstly, for air purifying paint, that itself is also one of the world's first, and we are already quite ahead in terms of the compared to the market that has something similar. So for all our paints, actually, we typically keep it as a trade secret. Why we do that is because we speak to a lot of specialty chemical experts and material scientists, and they've all unanimously told us to keep it as a trade secret. Reason being that once we have the patent published, the entire formula becomes becomes publicly available for everyone to see. And instead of 35% water, someone can change it to 40% of water, and you can circumvent the patent altogether. And being a young company with not much resources compared to the incumbents, it is very hard to start a litigative suit. So the strategy really is for us to keep it a trade secret. So that's that. In terms of the defensibility, I think we've also spoken to. We're also close friends with the bigger paint companies, incumbent paint companies here in Singapore. Interestingly, there's only 7. So we've joined this Singapore Paints Industries Association, and in there's Nippon, Berger, Jotun, SKK, Dulux, and then there's Gush. So obviously these people they're not very happy with us joining. But we've spoken to them as well, and you see the incentive for them to want to create this product is very different, because if they why sell 1 tub when you can sell 3 tubs, right? And I've actually asked them the same question, and they said, yeah, this is more from a profit maximization point of view. Whereas for us, we want to make sure we give the most value to the developers and the end users. So in terms of mindset, we're also quite different.
Got it. Thanks.
GM, you can go ahead, and then I will close down.
Thank you. Hi, Lester. Thanks. Yeah. So this invention really sounds like the best thing since sliced bread for the paint industry. And like, if it does have all the properties that you mentioned, it should just replace all the paints that we have, like Nippon Paint, Deluxe, or whatever. Right? Everybody should start using it. I'm just wondering, reminds me of the 2-in-1 shampoo that first came out like 20 years ago, like Rejoice, and then like soon after that, like the other brands all came out with the 2-in-1 shampoo. I'm just thinking, what limitations really is there with this product? Is there something that you haven't told us, like in terms of the durability, or how does it compare really, right, to what's in the market right now?
Yeah, we also wanted the same problem, so the same question as well. So if you notice, we actually developed this product in November. We only launched in May because we were also very concerned that what if we bring this out in the enterprise market and it starts flaking off and all the liabilities start piling on. So we actually did very extensive studies in this middle process. We've sent it to labs. We have the paints industry in Singapore has one of the most numbers of ISO standards that is regulating the body. So we've sent it for all the tests. We passed everything with flying colors. So in terms of what makes a paint, it is there, and we've also sent it through accelerated wearing tests because people wanted to see how it lasts with the test of time, and it's also done really well for itself. So I think it is a matter of mindset, and it's the industry is a cartel basically, and now we're here to show them that this is possible, and I think the building owners are now awakening to the realization that actually this is this is the new wave for how paints should be done.
Thank you. You should really look at the Guangdong market in China. Like 100 million
Oh, yeah.
inhabitants
Yeah.
here, and they have this problem with mold every year in February. Right? So.
Yeah, I understand. Like it was recently raining for a few months, non-stop. So we are in China as well as Hong Kong. Both these markets are also very in need of anti-mold paints.
Yeah, this is amazing. Great pitch, great communication, great element, great technology. I really need you to apply to our Adaptive Cities Innovator Awards, and if possible, to join us in New York. I told you this already. Please do it.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a game changer for your company and for your run as well. Now, just two questions. Number one, briefly, you touched base about the CO2 avoided, right? I think that's an important metric. Like 2 or 3 layers of paint is one. So if you can tell us a bit more about this, like how much waste do we avoid through this? And number two, as you know, for us as a fund, we look at category leaders that have a real interest to not only be in Southeast Asia, but potentially do their Series A or Series B in the US with us, because we have a great network of co-investors there, and vice versa, right? So maybe you tell us about our expansion plan a bit. Thank you.
Okay. So on the first part, in terms of embodied carbon, we did a calculation in terms of how much coverage there is per kilogram of paint being used, and because our coverage is so much higher for much less paint being used, that's how we got those numbers. Just from a pure product standpoint, there's a number of kilograms being used on the walls, and that's how we got the number 73% reduction. We are also now in the process of getting the life cycle analysis being done, and once we have those numbers, I think it puts us in a greater state for the competition that you just mentioned. In terms of the expansion plan, Singapore is the core market. We have our foray into Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and the Middle East, and this is really done through resellers and distributors at this point of time. The reason is because I think when it comes to this traditional construction market, it is still very relationship driven. So we want to tap on people who have networks in the country. Start with the B2B products. To start with the enterprise projects first. As and when there are orders, we will then fulfill them accordingly. Once the orders are large enough, we will then look at manufacturing in country, because there is really no point shipping water all around the world. As we speak as well, my R&D team is also developing a highly concentrated paint product, which is, if you think about it, it's just like a cordial syrup. where you have the highly concentrated ingredients of paint. And then, once you ship it to, say, Thailand, we then hydrate it with Thai water. And because more than 25% of the water is being used to hydrate the paint, it becomes made in Thailand. So then that's one way to get around the nationalist sentiments and taxation as well. So we've thought out the strategy, but now it's really about getting awareness and increasing demand. I think you're muted.
Yeah, so potentially global expansion is doable as soon as you don't have those big guys coming in with a competing product, and as soon as you identify vendors in new markets quite quickly after you close your round. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, if you could send us that, maybe you have appendix in your deck and stuff like this is very interesting. Any other questions, guys? All right, cool. So you didn't share how much you were raising, aren't you?
Yeah. Sorry. We're still debating if we want to raise. I'm sorry. I know I'm on this pitch right now.
Right.
We're turning cash flow positive in 2 months, and we're thinking if we should raise to just fuel the growth of this one code product that so we can build a moat against any competition. Yeah, so that's the dilemma right now.
Okay, well, let us know. I think that's it for today, Poom.
Yep, that's it. Really
All right.
amazing.
Yeah, great companies. Congratulations, Lester. Congratulations, everyone who've joined today. I hope you've got some great bouncing back with GM here and Maansi and Kris and everyone. Was this helpful? You guys raise your hand if it's helpful. Otherwise, we do something else. Okay, you can raise your hand. Cool. Okay, this is helpful. Awesome. Cool. So we will try our best to keep doing those events and bring more and more co-investors. It's quite hard for us to qualify investors. To be honest, a lot of people pretending they have money to invest in climate tech, but they actually don't. So we're trying our best to only invite people who really fill up the form and share that they have a ticket above $100,000 or different real interest. So it's kind of a lot of work, as you can imagine. But we like doing that. I think for me, I just love seeing the energy of founders like Louis or Lester here today. And I really want to help. In fact, this is why we do that with Atlas, but feel free, Monks Hill, other guys, if you want to allocate maybe, 1 hour of one of your associate time to help us put those events together, this is appreciated. I think this is great, important community building that we need to do as VCs. So we will have the deal flow, qualified deal flow in a few years. We need to start now, right? Early stage. So that's why we're doing this heavy lifting work. We want to see more VCs doing that with us. And in the meantime, thank you guys for joining today. I think Brinc and Monks Hill, you guys are some of the ecosystem builders because you joined us already. And looking forward to do more together. We have more than 350 Southeast Asian companies in our deal flow, like Gush, for example. So feel free to let us know if you want to collaborate on co-investing into this deal flow. For founders, we have a couple more events happening this year. Again, the Climate Week in New York in September is really something I can recommend to everyone because everybody is here, from Jeff Bezos to Elon Musk and to all the big public money funds as well. So we were putting together the only investor-focused climate event during that week. We get you guys a discount for our ticket if you are part of the coalition. And if you are one of the finalists of the Adaptive City Innovator Award, it's free. So keep that in mind. And if you want to join our Singapore chapter, we have a special dedicated group with more than 40 angel investors and VCs in that Singapore group. We have a platform for deals as well, where you can share about your round to a qualified list of 80 investors that are actively deploying in the region as well. So we're building all of this infrastructure for you guys to use. Feel free to leverage this. And in the meantime, I wish you all a great day. Thank you for your interest in climate, and let's make the world a better place. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.